The Intruder, a psychological novel by VMS. The prologue, there are walls we built for safety, and there are walls life builds for us between what could be and what never will. In the quiet corners of Bangalore's new posh locality, where the air smells of rain soaked bougainvillea and freshly cut lawns, Dr. Mira found a kind of peace she had not known for years. Solitude was not a punishment anymore, it had become her most intimate companion. The calm within Dr. Mira's morning began with the low hum of the city awakening, a rhythm she had come to love, the gentle drizzle, the scent of wet earth, and the mellow warmth that followed her like a therapy. After decades of healing others, she had at last begun to understand her own mind. Her house stood at the far end of an avenue lined with the silver oak trees, their leaves trembling in the breeze like whispers of forgotten lives, and Bangalore's climate, always mild and forgiving and pleasing and pleasant to the core, seemed to hold her in its soft palms. She would stand at her gazebo every morning, cup of jasmine tea in hand, watching children leave for school and street dogs stretch in the sun and other ladies gossip or older people walking on road. But she, in her own solitude, enjoy her own life. To the world, she was Dr. Meera Subramanian, a psychologist, writer, counselor to universities abroad, but inside she was simply a woman who had learned that silence heals faster than speech. The other side of the wall, for almost 3 years, Rajiv had lived next door, his life intersecting hers through the narrow boundary wall that divided their worlds. He never crossed it, not physically, not even in conversation, but in thought he lingered there often. A quiet man in his 50s and Meera too in her 50 plus. Rajiv had moved into the locality after retiring early from his corporate career. He admired Meera's poise, deliberate grace in her walk, the way her sari caught the evening light as she watered her plants. There was a poetic in each and every activities of her which he admires to the core silently. There was an unspoken rhythm between them, a mutual recognition of solitude, trust, and dignity. And sometimes, when the rain fell harder and she stood on her gazebo watching the sky, Rajiv felt an ache, an emotion unnamed, perhaps reverence, perhaps love. But it was enough. He didn't wish to disturb the calm that wrapped her around. The intruder. Santosh. Then came Santosh, young, ambitious, newly rich, the kind of man who bought not just a plot of land but also attention. His house rose between Mira's and Rajiv's houses, a modern monstrosity of glass and arrogance. He was proud of his success and believed money could command admiration. His housewarming party was a spectacle, lights, noise, laughter, expensive perfumes, clouding the still night. Mira, out of neighborly courtesy, attended. She stood for a while and minute near the flower arrangement, smiled politely, slipped away unnoticed. Santosh thought her indifference was arrogance. He did not know her silence was a kind of elegance, a boundary that no wealth could buy entry into. From that day, he began to perform his prosperity, new cars, louder parties, endless guests, and Rajiv withdrew quietly, unwilling to be part of the charade. Meera watched it all with clinical detachment. She had seen too many kinds of minds like this, a hunger, hollow, desperate for validation. Gossip and craze, every locality had its watchful eyes. The neighbors whispered, why does she always stay indoors? Her husband left her, they said. And she is rich, but look, no visitors, no friends. She talks to dogs and children more than people. And Mira had heard words in her professional life. Now it barely touched her. She found her conversations in unexpected places with the children who came to play on street, who told her about their small victories, and bruises with the stray dogs who wagged their tales when she returned from her evening walk. Her therapical sessions continued online, young students across continents seeking meaning, connection, healing. In every phase, she saw her younger self, and in every story, she found a fragment of her own wounds. The karmic triangle between Meera, Rajiv, and Santosh lay more than property lines, and there were karmic intersections. Rajiv's admiration was wordless but deep, and Prashant's intrusion loud but empty. Where Rajiv offered silence, Prashant demanded attention. Rajiv respected distance, and Santosh violated it. One evening, after yet another of Santosh noisy celebrations, Meera found Rajiv on his side of the wall sipping tea. Their eyes met briefly, two souls recognizing fatigue in the other. That look was the closest that had ever come to confession. Solitude and the mind. Meera's journal entries became her mirror. Solitude is not absence, it is presence without demand. I have learned to exist without being seen, to be admired without being touched, to be loved without being claimed. She observed the minds around her, the restless youth, the insecure rich, the lonely elders. Everyone was running from silence, but silence she knew was where truth waited. Her life was not incomplete, it was unfinished, like all beautiful things. A quiet realization when Santosh finally fell from Grace's company, entangled in financial scandal. The same neighbors who once praised him now whispered differently. Mira neither pitied nor judged him. She simply watched the universe she knew had a way of restoring balance, and Rajiv too changed subtly. He began tending to his garden again, sometimes leaving jasmine over the wall. She would find it in the morning dew, a wordless message that said, I see you, you are not alone. And the epilogue between them years later, and when the rains returned, Mira stood again on a gazebo. Her son was now the name in the business world. Her patient still wrote to her, saying that she had changed their lives. But she knew that the only life she truly healed was her own. From the house next door, a soft voice called, Beautiful weather today, isn't it? And it was Rajiv. The wall still stood between them, but the air was free. Some connections do not need bridges, they thrive in the spaces between words, in the calm recognition that love, when unspoken, is sometimes the purest form of it.